Hi guys, my name is Paul Potratz, and this week I'm going to give you 11 tips to starting your own podcast. And I'm going to tell you, I'm really excited about this video because I'm going to talk about gadgets. And I know you want to know all about the gadgets. But anyway, before I get into the gadgets, what I want you to do is share this video, share this article, just share it. It'll make me happy. All right, so 11 steps, starting with number one. And I said steps, but I mean tips. Number one is asking yourself the question, why do you want to do a podcast? Well, I think the answer is simple. Podcasts are growing. More and more people are listening to podcasts. By the way, a podcast is the audio file. And here's the question, do you listen to podcasts? And if you don't, you are in the minority because the numbers are growing. And I've had my podcast for years. In fact, I have a number of them. Go to iTunes and find them, by the way. Just search my name. So should you do it? Well, what is the goal? Do you want to increase that celebrity status where more and more people know who you are? Are you wanting to gain attention to your business? If so, if you want to do either one of those, then yeah, podcast will help you. If you think you want to make money from podcasting, well, I'm just going to be honest with you. That's a long, hard road. I'm not saying you can't do it because you can definitely do it, but it shouldn't be your first motive as saying, oh, I want to make money. I'm going to start podcasting. I'm going to sell all this advertising, because there's a lot of people podcasting, a lot of competition. But the one thing about a podcast that it will really help you as an individual or as a business owner is it will help you separate from the competitors, because now you can start sharing this valuable knowledge that you have with a prospective client, and it will help you stand out. So podcasts have a lot of benefits. All right, so that was number one, should you start it? Number two is the consistency. If you can't commit to doing a podcast at least a minimum of once a week, preferably 3 times a week, then you probably don't want to go down that path, because again, a lot of competition, a lot of noise, and to be able to stand out, you've got to create a lot of content. So it's really simple. So 1 to 3 times per week. That's number 2, is the consistency. Number 3 of the podcast is, what are you going to talk about? What do you have that people want to listen to? What do you have that people are going to be engaged about? And the answer is, you have something, you just have to find it, and you have to create a niche. So number 3 is niche. You can't be talking about everything under the sun and expect to build an audience. That audience needs to know, what is your podcast about? What are you talking about? Like my podcast, I give marketing tips, but it's very specific. I don't go off the deep end and start talking about, I can't think of it, but you get my point. So niche is number 3. Number 4, which is, I'm not going to say important, but they're all important. Number 4, and keep in mind, we're going to 11 here. Number 4, decide the name of your podcast. Oh boy, I remember when I was trying to create the name of my podcast, and it was difficult. So here it is, and I want you to go to iTunes or any of the platforms that you use to listen to your podcast. Was Think Tank Tuesday. I mean, I've been creating the video version, so I said, why not create the audio version of Think Tank Tuesday? The next one I did was the growth mindset. So deciding the name. I'll tell you this about creating the name. Make sure the name isn't something like Blue Bunny, and you're talking about marketing, because that means nothing. So make sure that the name has something to do about the content of the podcast. So the name is a difficult thing to really establish. So there you go. Number 5 is writing your intros and your outros. Before we get into the equipment, and it's coming, I'm telling you, it's coming, but you have to write your intro and outro. What is it that's going to be your jingle? What's going to be your sweeper? What's going to be that memorable point in your podcast in the intro and the outro? And I'll tell you this, here's a tip for your intro and outro. Ask people to share your podcast. Ask people to subscribe. Ask people to give you the ratings, the reviews, because that's what will help your podcast grow. In fact, here's a really cool tip that I listened to a podcast with someone did, is they said, hey, go ahead and leave the rating and review, but you're taking time out of your day to watch my video or listen to my audio. So when you leave the rating and review, I want you to put in, what is your name, what is a business, and a link to your company, because I want others that are listening to my podcast that are like-minded to know who you are. This is your chance to be able to grow your business. So number 6 is get a graphic designer and have them create that postage stamp, that cover, that image, because this is going to be really important when someone's spanning, panning, whatever you want to call the word, through various podcasts, you need a graphic, an image that's going to stand out, grab someone's attention, and you want to test it and make sure it looks good. How do you test it? Put it on Facebook and ask your friends and family, which one do you like the best? But look at it quickly. Whatever your friends and family say, probably do the opposite, because they're going to want to see your rosy little cheeks. Just take the criticism well. All right, so number 7, and guess what? Drum roll. Let's talk about the gear now, because I know we all care about the gear. That's what we want to do. We want to go out. We want to buy the gear. We haven't really decided on the podcast. By the way, don't skip any of these steps. So the gear. The first thing you need is a microphone. Don't do it on your iPhone headset. Come on, don't be cheesy, because it's the little details that matter. You need a good microphone because audio is so important. So what's a good microphone? Well, here you go. I love these mics, and why I love this mic, and by the way, this is the Heil, Heil PR40, and there's really a guy named something Bob Heil or something like that. But it's a fantastic mic. The only thing is it's called a fire mic, I believe, or a shotgun mic, something like that, meaning that you have to be really close to it, otherwise the fall off is crazy, which is really good because it won't pick up the sound of computers and all that. So spend the money. Don't be a cheap you-know-what, and spend the money and get a good mic, because this is the first thing that it's really going to make a difference. And by the way, if you're a guy and you want that sexy Barry White voice, hey ladies, this is the mic. It's a deep-sounding mic, and it's, again, the Heil PR40. Links below, so you can go to Amazon and find this stuff, and you need a good, solid stand, because it's going to be sitting on that desk by the computer, and you don't want it to pick up any vibration or hum. Don't do any of the other, I won't even say the names, but you know what I mean. Go pro. Or hey, if you're feeling really sexy, since we're talking about Barry White, why not a gold one? Okay, why not? It wasn't that much more, but it makes for great pictures. I mean, see? So now that you have the mic, I'm already taking it for granted that you have the computer. You're probably saying, all right, Paul, great. What software should I use? I'm getting to that. Before I get into that, since we're talking about sexy voices and Barry White, then why not go with the mixer? And I love the Joe Meek, because the Joe Meek, what it does is it really helps my voice become deeper. I wish I was using one right now, because I probably sound like a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever. But the Joe Meek is a great way. All you do is plug the mic into it. It's really easy. The directions are all online. Go to YouTube. It tells you how to hook everything up. But this is really great. The mic goes into this, and then the cord goes out, and then it goes into something like this, which is like an M audio box. Here's the cheap way to do it. Well, not cheap, but relatively inexpensive. An M audio box, really good, because now this is what gets the sound into the computer. We're getting to the software here. Or if you want to go a little fancier, boy, I'm gonna need help with this one, is you go with the big box, a big mixer. And this is great because if you have more than 2 guests, the M Audio will do 2 guests, you can plug in more. And you have just all these great controls. And you know the best part of this, what I really like, is you can watch the little lights flash up and down. It's really cool. And it just makes you feel special, okay? And you can buy these used on eBay. Really simple. But by the way, this is an Onyx 820i. It's probably a little older, but it's great. It's just, I don't know, just makes me feel special. All right, so there you go. All right, last piece of gear is headphones, and you need good headphones. Again, I told you don't use the iPhone headphones. You need a good studio monitor, but the reason that I talk about these headphones is because the sound is very neutral. It's a flat sound. Because a lot of headphones, if you buy, various headphones, it will really boost up the bass, and you say, oh, I sound really good. You're not getting a true sound, so you're adjusting for your headphones, and then to everybody else, it sounds flat, it sounds low, whatever it is. So you need a neutral sound headphone. All right, so there you go. That was the gear. That made it really easy. So now let's talk about software. Probably your easiest bet is Adobe Audition. That's the software you're going to run to be able to record. And by the way, I talked about all the software. Here's the next thing you have to decide. What is your show going to be set up like? Is it going to just be you talking, or are you going to do an interview show where you have people calling in? And I'll forewarn you, if it's an interview show, it's really difficult. It's a lot of work to get people to be on your show that have good content, quality content. So I'll just forewarn you on that. So maybe really the best way is maybe just to make the show about you, and then occasionally invite guests on after you've screened them and made sure that they're really good. All right, so there you go. Adobe Audition was the next step, and I even forgot all the numbers, but we're moving on. So now that you have Adobe Audition, you've recorded it, put it out to market. And what I mean by put it out to market is you're going to upload it, you're going to push it out to Facebook and have your friends and your family listen to it and see if it's engaging content. Tell them, please, 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 be honest with me. Tell me, is it boring? What do I need to change? What can I do differently? And I'm going to tell you where to upload it in just a second so they can share it with them. Let them be honest with you, and then you're going to go back and you're going to tweak it. You're going to make it to perfection. It might be that your storyline, your content, whatever, was not that great, but be willing to change it. Okay, so there you go. So now that you've recorded it, and I kind of got a step ahead, so the next step is a program, an online program that you have to pay for, and it's called Libsyn. Libsyn. It's the one that I use for my podcast. But this is where you would put the audio file so you can provide a link for people to listen to. But the good part about Libsyn is what happens is it gives you analytics. You can see how many people are subscribing to your podcast. You can see the popularity of the podcast. It gives you some really good analytics. The other part of Libsyn, because you're saying, hey, I'm ready to be a celebrity, I'm ready to be famous, I'm ready to tell people that I am on Spotify, I'm on Pandora, I'm on iTunes, I'm on, it was Clear Channel, it switched over, and iHeart. I should know that. That's where my radio show's at. All right, iHeart. They also have where you can upload your podcast. It takes a little while to get approved, but Libsyn will let you do this, so you're not having to go off to all these individual websites and upload. You go to upload your file to Libsyn, you put tags in there. By the way, tags are really important. Just watch the videos on YouTube about Libsyn. It'll tell you how to do it all. Put the tags in, push it out, and it will hit all of those platforms, and now you can advertise to everybody. You can tell everybody that all of the different sites, the podcast where they can download your audio file, but be sure that you have that frequency and you tell the people, the listeners, that, hey, every Wednesday I do my podcast at so-and-so time, every Tuesday, every Saturday, whatever your frequency is, tell them so they know when to tune in so they can expect it. Wait, before we go anywhere, before we end this video, let me make sure, yeah, I've got notes, but I did this a one-cut wonder. There was no me stopping and heeing and on and all that. That's a wrap. See you next week.